Hello everybody, it is me, Pacific, and wow, I might be able to get good video quality today because the sun is not in my face and it's not pitch dark. Today's topic is westernized or Western women. I've been thinking about this a lot lately because most of my life I have grown up predominantly with females. I'm one of those guys that doesn't really bond with other men, and I will be dealing with men in another video. But ladies first, I'm still old-fashioned. We'll deal with the ladies first. This topic is highly controversial and will offend many, I realize that. Let me give the disclaimer that I always give. What I'm about to say does not apply to every Western woman. It applies to most of them. This is my observations from 45 years of living. This is my observation that comes from living in many states in the United States, living abroad here in Hong Kong, spending time in the Philippines and Macau, watching people, paying attention. You can't learn everything in a classroom. You have to experience it. Experiences is my greatest teacher. I was talking to a Chinese guy yesterday when I was leaving Lantau Island. Excuse me. We were talking about Hong Kongese, as he calls it, or Honkies, he calls it, the locals' name for people that are born and raised in Hong Kong. We were talking about the dynamics of different ethnicities and stuff. And he said something that really struck me. He said, I noticed that Western women are aggressive, independent, and the aggressiveness I don't like. And I've been saying things about this for a while. It is definitely a big problem with Western women. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about feminism. The idea of wanting equality. It started in the USA with equality of voting, of women being able to have the right to work, of women being able to have a say, and a voice in matters. That was all well and good. Unfortunately, feminism has gone way too far. Fast forward to 2011, women have gotten too big for their britches, specifically Western women. They are taking on everything by storm, and they don't know when to stop. Liberation is the very word of liberated means to be set free. And I find that the women today are not showing that they've been liberated, but they're imposing a form of bondage upon the rest of society that continues. We are reaping what is being sown, and the cause and effect of feminism has gone too far. But let's get to the meat of the matter. Feminism caused more harm than good. Women went to work, and they went to work in the droves. Now, I'm not one of those old-fashioned men that says that women can't work. But when women went to work, the big business learned to drive up the cost of everything, making it necessary now for both husband and wife to work. Both sexes have to work, unless the husband makes big money. Women started putting their kids in daycare to accommodate a full-time job. And we are seeing the effects of that damage continually. We have kids drowning in video games and antisocial behavior and materialism because mom and dad basically aren't there. All they are is legal guardians anymore in the U.S. And some mothers who are minivan moms shuttle them around in their little minibus called a minivan and take them to soccer and music practice and math class and chess class and all these activities. Busy, busy, busy. But the kids grow up realizing stuff is important, not people. I have also noticed statistically, and you can check it out for yourself, the number of affairs between men and women, married men and women, increased exponentially when women hit the workforce. Why? Most men and women spend more time at their jobs than they do with their family. It is normal for us, men and women, to start bonding with people we work with. It is not easy to be in a work environment and remain cloistered away from everybody. You're in a stressful job, you're going to bond with those that you identify with common work backgrounds. I have seen nothing but problems when we have taken away from the standard and model that God set forth. Husband and wife, the wife raises the children, the husband works. That model almost cannot be done by most people unless the man makes good money. It takes two. But even people that do make good money, even in the Christian community, the wife now is so independent, she wants to buy her own SUV, even though the husband has his own SUV. So the kids get sacrificed so mommy and daddy can buy more toys and get deeper into debt. This video is about westernized women, or Western women. Male bashing is rampant in the United States and America. Turn on primetime television. Watch it. Men are put down at every turn in just about every sitcom. Oh, you're a man, you can't hang that picture right. Oh, you're a man, you probably don't clean your house. Oh, you're a man, you can't do this or that. Men are made fun of because they're macho. Men are made fun of because they're male. Men are made fun of, especially when they stand up and speak the truth. And that is happening more and more and more. Women have successfully formed an alliance against the males in Western cultures, and they will shut us down the minute we start saying anything that criticizes or critiques their wrong behavior. I'll get to that in a minute. Females gang up against men. When a wife goes to work and has problems with her husband and she goes and gossips to all the other women in the workplace, they will all immediately, oh, he's terrible, divorce him, dump him, leave him, get a restraining order. It is ridiculous. None of the women bother to listen to the man's side of the story and go, yeah, do you know what my wife does when she's not at work? There are two sides to every story, and I heard growing up all my life, even in my family, the man was to blame every time there was a divorce. The man was to blame for the deteriorating marriage. The man was this, the man was that. I saw it with my aunt. I've seen it in my own personal life. I'm divorced. I was married for 14 years. The woman is still blaming me to this day, and I've been divorced for years now. It's interesting that a lot of people can't move on, specifically a lot of females. They play the victim, and they play it well. When they have a bad marriage, a lot of people turn the corner and blame all men, and they start getting on an anti-male campaign. It's interesting. Our media condones this behavior. We constantly hear about the inequality of women's pay versus men's pay. I'm not sure if that's true or not. But now women are doing things that only men used to do. Women want to be in leadership roles. Women want to be in combat. I still got a problem with that. Women want to be in man sports, hockey, basketball, and contact sports. And I find I drove school buses for years, both university students and high school and junior high students. And I found that the women that were in the contact sports, there's nothing lady about them, nothing feminine about them. And I find that women are becoming men. Not sure why that is. I don't know why they want to deny their ladiness. I noticed that because of liberation, and I use the word liberated, we're not liberated in our culture. Let's take American culture. People are rude. Women are rude. They don't use manners. If a man holds a door open for a woman today, 9 times out of 10, the woman will not say thank you. If a man looks at a woman, even to admire her in an appropriate manner because she does look good, the woman says, oh, he's stalking me. He's staring at me. What a pig. We'll get to that in a minute. Women have become combative. They want men who have money or no honey. They run on emotions rather than logic and common sense, many of them. If you don't believe me, confront a woman of her faults and watch what happens. Honk at a woman in traffic and watch what happens. Women like to control by undercurrents, moodiness, passive-aggressive behavior. I see this dynamic at work. I worked in a place where it was all women and 1% male, and I watched the cattiness and the posturing. Females don't even have unity in the workplace. They're undermining each other, they're backbiting each other, they're gossiping about each other. The jealousies and the rivalries are horrible. Liberation, we're not liberated. We have more bondage now than ever before. But you talk to today's average American woman, it's my choice. Her choice means that you are going to suffer. 9 times out of 10. We'll get to that in a minute. American men are not the head of most homes. And I say that. The woman will say, well, my husband's the head of the house, but women have their own way of controlling things. They can clam up and ignore their husband and not talk to them, or they scream and yell and create such a stink when he does have to talk about something that's objective criticism that men have learned to say, man, I just don't want to deal with this. The only solution for some of those men is to leave the woman and say, I'm done with you, bye-bye. And then that's the gift that keeps on giving. The man will continue to hear for the next 10 years, even though he's miles away, how terrible he was, whether it's true or false. Let's talk about Western women and their hygiene since being liberated. Today's women want to wear sweats and pajamas in the store. I don't know where that came into vogue. Stupid. It's disgusting. Really gross when I go to the store in the morning and a woman goes to the store in her sweats and PJs and pulls her hair all tied up, and guess what? It says, I didn't shower today. I didn't bother to clean myself today, and I didn't have enough pride in myself to look presentable. Ish. I find a lot of American females now don't shave their underarms. Yes, hairy pits. Nasty. I find that many, you get close to them, have very offensive, bad breath. And I mean the kind of breath you can smell 10 feet away. Body odor, smelly. Obesity is taking, and this is both sexes, obesity is taking women by storm. And if that isn't enough, obese women now have an attitude. Well, I'm a little chunky, and if you don't like it, don't even bother to talk to me. Obese people's revenge is in full swing today. I have worked with a lot of heavy women, and they can be some of the meanest sons of guns I've ever worked with. And I am not promoting hate, I'm just making observations. I don't find fat attractive. Sorry. When I put myself on a dating profile some years ago, there were several that came after me. No picture. They wrote me, telling me, man, you're so handsome, you're this, you're that. Can I see a photo of you? I'd see a photo, and they were this big. I'm a nice guy. I'm not going to say, sorry, you're too obese. I would just say, hey, nice talking to you, and I disappear. And then I hear women in chat rooms, and I hear women in the workplace saying, I'm so tired of men that won't accept me for who I am. They want me to be attractive. If you listen to those same women, there was a woman that got on Craigslist with her photo. She was very obese, and she said, I'm not into obese men, so if you're obese, don't even message me. I sent her a message saying, you're obese. I'm not understanding this. Her response, I'm not obese. I said, look at your photos. Women want an attractive man. Don't kid yourself. I'm tired of women saying to men, we're all pigs. But then the females their hygiene is piggish. Style on a lot of American women today. Colorless, blah, tacky, and they spend way too much money on this junk. The jewelry they wear, the perfume they wear stinks. It's overpowering. It's gross. And again, this doesn't apply to all. I live in Spokane, Washington when I'm back in the States. Out of all the towns I've lived in, I've never seen such blah, tasteless fashion on the women. Colorless, browns and grays and yellows and blacks and dull, drab, and they go to the malls and shop for all that stuff and spend too much. No color, no passion, no drive of anything that makes you stand out in a, wow, that's really nice looking. I find a lot of Western women like to dress smutty, slutty, and inappropriate, meaning, let's see if I can do this now. Women gotta be like this. Let's see if I can put that out there. They like to show these. No, I don't have breasts. Now, most men say, you got a problem with that? I do have a problem with that. I have a problem with that for several reasons. It's immorality. It promotes sexy and sensual thinking. And the same women will call all men pigs. And yet they fail to realize that they're advertising their sexual parts. And because they're doing that, we men are going to look. We're wired that way. We're sight oriented. Don't call us pigs. If you're dressed modestly and we're ogling at you, okay, then we're out of line. Women don't take that too well. They say, I can wear what I want. You can look at the menu, but not touch. Can't have it both ways, ladies. If you dress that way, most men are going to think, wow, I'd like to do her in bed. Reality 101. If you want to be respected as an individual, you might want to get rid of the sexual image and start doing something a little more classy. I find here in China that the Western women that are here, especially the big-breasted, they really like to show that off. And it's revolting even to the Chinese ladies who are far more prettier than they are, natural beauties, without all the pancake makeup, breast implants, and all the silliness that goes on with the Western culture. They are offended by the white women here with their tacky manner of dress. You watch the Western women who have been brought up in a Hollywood media culture. They're emulating everything they see on TV, and they think that that is the standard of excellence. In this white boy's eyes, it ain't. I find that a lot of women today are seldom classy. They measure on the sensual or the sexy, and if they're not sensual or sexy, they major on having a very nasty attitude. I find that with obese women, they wear the sleeveless shirts and the one with their mushroom or their stomach showing, fat, whatever you want to call it, and their breast. And I look at that and it is disgusting. And they lift up their arm and you're looking at a 12-inch diameter armpit. When I'm in public and I'm on a bus or I'm in close proximity to that, my first thought is, ugh, pew, disgusting. Liberation has really taken us a long way, baby. I find that westernized women love their pets, their SUVs, their coffees, and their lattes more than people. If you don't believe me, go to the average Western woman when her dog's in the yard barking all day and all night and talk to her about it. It's a dog. Dogs bark. Yeah, I know that, ma'am, but there's rules against this stuff. I don't want to hear the dog barking in my house. A lot of Western women like noise. They got the TV going, the radio going. I lived in an apartment building in Denver, Colorado with hardwood floors. The woman next door, 2 o'clock in the morning, click, 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 clop, 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 bum, bum, boom, boom, boom. They throw things in the closet. They slam the door. They bang. They slam drawers. You know, I like some quiet, and I'm a reasonable man. But 2 o'clock in the morning, I went to go talk to her politely. Her remark, if you don't like noise, go live in the country. Honey, I understand that we're going to hear some noise living, but maybe you could take the high heels off instead of doing marching band practice in your house all night and disturbing my then wife and I in our bedroom, which is right up against your living room. I find you cannot talk truth to most Western women. They won't listen to it. They will put me down. They will shout me down. They will shut me up, and they will cuss at me. Back to the emotion thing. You cannot reason with people that live as I'm describing. You cannot tell them their hygiene is pathetic. They've developed their own circular reasoning. Well, if you don't like it, too bad. We've gotten to a point now where there's no shame, where there's no conviction. The only conviction is when a man does something wrong, all the women unite. That's terrible. He needs to be arrested. He needs to be put away. I need a restraining order on him. Muzzle the man, take away, strip him of his manhood. Now women want pickup trucks. Isn't that funny? The very thing they fought against, our maleness, now they're becoming male. And they're turning to alternative lifestyles in the shiploads because we men are so terrible. Interesting. I find most Western women selfish, whether they're Christian or not Christian. If you don't believe me, look at their checkbooks and how much money they spend on themselves. And then they will tell you at Christmas, I give this and this and this to my kids. Big deal. Everybody does that. I find most Western women narcissistic. They have too high of an opinion of themselves, and this is what feminism and liberation has done. It has empowered women to believe wrongly about themselves while looking down their noses at the rest of us, especially those of us that are real and genuine and don't go for this. They like to play the victim. Workplace harassment has gone up incredibly. And the funny thing is, there's not that much harassment going on. What I'm saying, and why I'm saying that, is harassment has been redefined by today's liberated women to mean that if and I haven't done this hasn't happened to me, but it's happened to other people. I've witnessed it. A man sees a woman dressed nice. Hey, Sally, you look really nice today. She runs into the boss, closes the door. Oh my gosh, I'm being sexually harassed. Boss comes out and says, Tom, you made a comment that was offensive to Susie or Sally. If you do that again, I'm writing you up. You will be terminated. And the guy's like, what? He didn't say, I want to see your breast or touch you, you know what. It has gotten ridiculous. And I would say something to every employer in the United States of America and Australia, and to the women. If you don't want the men making a comment about anything, first thing you need to do is stop showing your cleavage. You're attracting attention to your sexuality. The workplace is not the place for that in any setting. But women don't want to hear that. They have choice and they have rights, and I can do and dress however I want. Women, there are consequences for your rudeness. There are consequences for your male bashing. There are consequences for the slutty way you dress. When you realize that, then maybe you will stop bashing us men and change. I've heard women at workplaces, that guy looked at me, he's stalking me. And I start asking, who looked at you? They'll point to somebody. I said, that guy's a nice guy. He just glanced at you. Oh no, he's stalking at me. He looked at me the other day. If a woman sees a car following her for more than 3 blocks, they're stalking me. They're following me. No, they just happen to be going the same way. And I know there's men that stalk. There's some crazed fools out there. Let's talk. Wow, I almost got hit by a pigeon. Cool. I want to say a lot here. Got to get my notes in order. Bear with me. Women love psychobabble and clinical diagnoses of us males. He's dysfunctional. He's passive aggressive. He's got anger management issues. He's got projection issues. Go to the average workplace where there's a lot of women bitching about their exes or their husbands, and you will hear them apply clinical diagnosis to all the men, even though they've never been diagnosed by a doctor as having these disorders. American women and Western women can get online and look up a host of all these dysfunctions and just fling them at anybody they want. Some of us men are doing the same thing back to them, and they don't like it. I said, you're a shopaholic. You have a problem with denial. They hate that. I find most Western women are the worst in the world at denial and facing reality. And as my uncle said, the problem is, Michael, most women have a problem being honest with themselves. I've had my own experiences with this, starting with my own mother. She was abusive, physically, verbally, and I mean seriously, and I'm not going to get into all that here. To this day, she's never apologized to us kids for her behavior. This is not a video about bitterness or my problems or that I need to forgive. I'm just stating what happened. May God have mercy on her in that great day. Let's talk about women drivers. If you don't think women are selfish, pay attention to this statistic. Women texting while driving. What kind of a moron would text while they drive? You're not looking at the road. I've seen women run stop signs on my school bus, stop signs at an intersection, red lights, almost run pedestrians down because they're texting. Another thing that Western women like to do is drive with their little cutesy doggy on their lap, hanging out the window, obstructing their ability to drive safely and conscientiously to other motorists. They want everybody to think they're cute and cool because they have their little poochie. Women really seem to love their animals more than people. The amount of money they spend on their dog, the amount of conversation they spend talking about their dog, and then they treat the next door neighbor like crap and bash us men. I stand back objectively and look at all this and say, women, you need to get a grip. This is not a chauvinistic video. I am not a chauvinist, but I would be accused of such by most of these women. Unfortunately, the women that need to watch this video will either react in anger or turn it off in the first 60 seconds of it. The only people that will watch it are those that are curious, and those that may agree, and those that will leave all their little trolling comments at the bottom of the screen. I see here in Hong Kong with the predominantly of the expats, the Australian culture, a lot of these women dye their hair blonde. They've got brown hair and they dyed it blonde, and you can see the brown roots coming through, and then they pull it up in a ponytail and you can tell it hasn't been washed in days. I don't understand the need for westernized women to constantly change the very looks that God endowed them with. Breast implants, dyeing the hair, caking on the makeup, buying ridiculous fashions and clothes that they think are cool, but most of us men don't find cute at all. I find that Western women are not interested in pleasing their man. They're competing with other females. I don't understand that dynamic at all. I find very few Western women actually being themselves. And the ones that think they're being themselves are the ones that tattoo, pierce themselves everywhere, and I'm sorry, look hideous. They think they're being unique. Unfortunately, they've got a huge following of goth and medieval and freakazoid group of people to hang out with. So they're not original. I find that most Western women mar their beauty, mar their body, destroy with piercings and tattoos all over, and they look very, very poor. And a lot of those women are finding out in places like quaint Vermont and New England, and even in modern cities, that a lot of employers will not hire them at the front desk because of all this body art. I'm not going to get into my opinion on tattoos. I think that women and men need to quit putting that stuff on their body. If God wanted them to have tattoos, he would have put it on them. Somebody might argue, well, if he wanted us to have deodorant, he would have invented it. Sorry, hygiene is acceptable. We need to clean ourselves. Why are we marring our bodies? Western women, I am finding out living here in China and the Philippines, I cannot believe how many Asians are just beautiful women, naturally. Beautiful long hair, and that's another thing that feminism brought. Chop off the hair. Girls looking like guys. Girls taking their crowning glory and getting rid of it. Most men I talk to adore long hair, and it is hard to find in our culture. One thing that bothers me is females competing with us males at every turn, including in traffic. You go to pass a female who's going slow because she's texting. She sees the man in the pickup going around her the speed limit, and she punches the accelerator and speeds. Oh, I'm not going to let him pass me. Naked aggression. I've seen it at crosswalks all across America. Women will almost cut somebody's toes off, and the same women, you go up and slap their dog on the butt, and they're ready to call the SPCA on you. Our values have really changed, folks. Really changed. And my comment to all of this is, will the real ladies please rise? I don't find ladies in our culture anymore. I don't find ladies that wear nice clothes and dresses and look like ladies. I find ladies wearing blue jeans or no jeans and tacky little... All right, we've got a culture of complete sleaze. And the teenagers seem to be controlling the parents today. Teenage girls with their short little shorts with their butt cheeks hanging out and the cleavage showing. And we've got westernized women dressing and acting like their teenage daughters. In fact, it's even being reported that a lot of Western women are introducing their daughters to lesbian behaviors. Fact. Look into it. It's pretty sad that when a group of teenage girls with their friends show up at the friend's house and mom's there acting just like them, and she's 45 years old. But it's no wonder. Our whole culture's getting more immature. I've seen it in my own life, and I've had to check myself constantly, and I'm seeing it in American culture and Australian culture. It's really happening in the shiploads. Again, you try to point this out to females, they'll mock, they'll laugh, and they'll shut you down. I've said it before, most Westerners don't want to hear truth anymore. They only want to hear what they agree with. But tell them the truth about things that need to change, they're not going to listen to it. No wonder so many white men in America and Australia are choosing Asian women. I've had this discussion with all kinds of women in my country, and they say, oh, well, the men just want the women because they're submissive and they can boss and order them around. Not true. I find that most men that marry these women treat them very good, because one thing that Western women haven't learned is if they treat their man right, the man is more inclined to treat them right. And they'll dispute that with me. There are some exceptions. Yes, there's jerk men. I know that. I'm a guy, and I think most males are idiots. And I'm going to deal with that in an upcoming video. That's why I don't make friends with males. I like women. My friends are women. I adore women. I can have deep conversations with women that I cannot have with most men. And we'll deal with men. Men are like cavemen, but we'll deal with that later. Only thing I'm going to give you a teaser for is men think that NFL pickup truck, beer can, and rifle is all manhood. It ain't. It's a veneer. It's a smokescreen. It's a little wall that they hide behind because of their own insecurities. There are men who treat women bad. I still hold my truck door open to let a woman in, or a door here in Hong Kong to let a date in. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. One thing that I've noticed is that Western women have a real hard time admitting that they are wrong, that I am sorry. I was married for 14 years to a woman who never said, I was wrong, my attitude was wrong, I'm sorry, ever. I grew up with a mother who was like that. I was involved with several females in my life that could not admit when they were wrong. And talk about projecting. They would always turn it around. You. My uncle has a saying that I like. Michael, what you're talking about is people who have this philosophy. I'm okay, you're not okay. I heard a guy in the workplace in America once say something that I laughed so hard at, and I said, I'm pirating that phrase. He said, how is it that women can crap all over us men and then come out smelling like a rose? It's true. Because they have a support group of other women that will always agree with them and think that everything they do is justified. Now remember, viewers, when you have people thinking on emotion, emotion is not a good barometer for truth. That's why God made men and women. Men can tend to not have feelings, and women can tend to have little intellect. And what I mean by that is when it comes to dealing with problems, conflict, differences, bad behavior, correcting, and I will single-handedly attack American females, trying to correct an American female, you're better off pulling the Titanic with a rope in your mouth with your teeth than you are in trying to get them to understand the error of their way. You can't do it. There's a book out, Women Are From Mars, Men Are From Venus, or maybe I've got it wrong. I know that we're different. But if it wasn't for us men to bring some reason, if the whole world were controlled by females, it would be, we'd have problems. Conversely, if it was controlled only by men, we'd have problems. Men that aren't kept in check by good women. I am not against women leaders. I'm not against women working in the workplace. But I am against women being combative and taking us men on and putting us down. I might want to remind them you came from our semen. Hello. There's a lot that I could say, but I've noticed something. Women don't always make good neighbors. If they want to turn the TV on all day and leave the radio on all day, I find that a lot of Western women aren't peaceful. Loud, noisy, going to the public place, a lot of them, especially here in Hong Kong, I find the Australian women like to talk louder than all the Chinese around them. Don't know why that is. I don't know if they're looking for attention or trying to communicate by their posturing that I'm more important than anybody in here. I still believe in ladies. Not so I can order and control them. I have no interest in controlling a woman, but I'd like to see the women start controlling themselves. That's not going to happen in Western culture. The only way that the Western mentality is going to stop is when God judges this world and ends the whole charade once and for all. I long for that day. Oh, yes, and He'll deal with us men too. Trust me. I have so much to say. But in our culture, I just want to say thank you so much for women like Shirley MacLaine that were so flipped out on their underarm smell or whatever that they went on a beach and said, I'm God. That in Spokane, women will go to the local health food store and they want their little canvas bag and they'll read all the sayings in that health food store about saving the earth, organic, and get into their $65,000 SUV and nearly run people over getting out of the parking lot and spend $300 on their doggies' accoutrements for the week. Unstinking real. I find women getting into freaky stuff, freaky beliefs, weird behavior, and they've got the confidence and no shame because it's my choice. I find women that get into physical fitness, running through parks, got their headphones on, that arrogant look, and they ignore everybody. I find that this whole culture of feminism has gone way too far. American women have communicated to most of us men, we don't need you. I could say volumes about that. I don't know why this is happening. The Bible said it would get worse before it gets better, and I realize some of you listening will say, I don't even believe in it. I understand that. Tell me, what are the positive attributes of the stuff I'm discussing? When are women going to stop fighting us men? When are they going to stop taking us on? When are they going to stop putting us down for the fact that we are different than them? I'm getting sick of American culture trying to homogenize everybody that men and women need to be the same. Sorry, we're not unisex. Men are designed to be the gatherer, protector, and they're designed to do that. Women are designed to nurture, but that's disappearing. American women throw their kids into daycare so they can buy more toys, including Christian women, even when they don't need to because the husband has a good job. And the kids are growing up so screwed up and messed up, and then they stand back and go, you know, I was so good to you. What's your problem? You bought them toys, you gave them a roof over their head, but you didn't give them love, you didn't give them training, you didn't model anything but following more of the American dream garbage mentality. Buying stuff, having money, and exercising your right is all that they can think about. The problem is we have 300 million Americans now, and everybody seems to be doing whatever they please, irregardless of others. And this doesn't just apply to women. It applies to traffic. It applies to renting in an apartment building. Right now, I live on Lantau Island. I'm in a village. Somebody that I know, everybody goes to sleep in that village. And this woman plays her music, thump, 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 late into the night. It disturbs many. Can anybody do anything about it? No, her comment. I can do what I want. It's my choice. It's nobody's business. You're making it people's business when it comes into their homes. Most Americans don't follow the village mentality. When you're in an apartment building and 10 tenants are sleeping and you want to make noise, don't expect them to give you a parade and greet you with happiness in the morning. A lot of American women don't like the fact that what they're doing, what they're sowing, is reaping consequences. And I will continue to go to somebody's door and say, hey, it's 2 o'clock. Could you please turn that down? And I realize I won't get anywhere. You'll just get a mouthful of flack thrown in your face. If everybody thinks they have the right to do whatever they want, why aren't you thinking further ahead? What if somebody, what they're doing, offends you? You're going to get mad. And I've seen this with women in our culture. If you do something that offends them, they're going to let you have it. But if they do something that offends you and you politely try to tell them, you better get ready to put on your boxing gloves, kid, because you're going to get a fight to the finish. I find most Western women hypocritical at best. I love women, but I am tired of our westernized culture, and I'm tired of what so-called liberation has done. And to those of us men out there that try to be loving and kind and sweet and mannerly, keep up the good work. And maybe you ought to come over to this side of the world. There's some good women out here that still have some values that we used to have in our country. Unfortunately, those things have just about completely disappeared from the American landscape. And the thing that bothers me is that it doesn't look like it's going to change for the better anytime soon. I think that Western women need to take stock and they need to start asking themselves, if this continues to keep going as it's going, where are we headed? I think we're headed for anarchy. I think we're headed for more and more trouble. And I think we're headed for a continued breakdown in our society and the fabric of good community. I'm also tired of men that promote this mentality. I like a woman who's tough like me. That is bad. I'm tired of the beer commercials in our country promoting the women drinking and the women acting as tough as men and playing the volleyball and competing with men. We're just promoting a whole culture of trying to blur the lines between the sexes, and it's really disgusting. I don't believe liberation is doing us any good. You've got the right to vote. You've got the so-called equality, but now you've taken it so far. When is this going to stop? I still like a lady. I still like a lady who looks up to a man, a good man. I'm not saying, woman, don't stand up for yourself. But I find even amongst the Christian women that are supposed to be submissive to their husbands, they're combative, they're argumentative, and a husband can't even look them in the eye and say, you're spending too much money at the mall. Well, I'm a woman, and you don't understand. Yeah, I do understand. It's called discontentment and greed. I don't know why I can't intelligently communicate to most women in my culture and tell them the truth about themselves. I don't know why they're not receptive to it. But I've noticed if what I'm saying is not true, then you turn this off, ignore it, and don't let it affect you. But it will affect them because it is true. If you don't believe me, watch their anger. I don't believe Friday the 13th is bad luck. I laugh at that. I don't get mad at it. If what I'm saying isn't true, you're going to laugh at it and move on. But if you're getting angry, chances are I hit a nerve. Check yourself. I check myself every day, and I don't measure up in every way myself. This isn't a video about men are better than women, because we're not. I'm going to get to men next time, and we're going to have some real fun with that, because men have pushed a lot of women in this direction, unfortunately. But I'm not going to lay all that blame at the feet of us males. Women need to start taking personal responsibility, and they need to stop going wah every time they get their feelings hurt by a man. Men are different. Quit expecting, and this is another thing I've noticed with Western women when they get on a date site or in a chat room and they say what they want in a man. They want a man who earns good money, who doesn't have anger management issues, and blah, blah. They line up all this stuff that's basically perfection magnified, but they don't put that same requirement on themselves. I've had the privilege of renting in a woman's home several times, living with women, not in physical relationship, not in a romantic relationship. And it takes 1 to 2 weeks to go, my gosh, most men think this woman's an absolute babe, and I've spent a week here going, there's nothing here that would hold a marriage together. I wouldn't even want to make love with this person because her personality's so, I know a woman who's 65 years old, sharp as a tack, liberated to the core. Got 4 cats in her house, peeing and pooping all over the place, and that's okay. Filling her house with materialistic junk, stuffing it full of stuff, has no friends in life, and is complaining about conservatives and complaining about men and complaining about this and that. And I'm going, everything in me wants to say, but because I'm renting from her and I didn't want to get kicked out, I want to say, could it be that the reason men don't want you is because if you look around, ask yourself, what is there that they're going to desire? And women do it to us men all the time. My job. is a good example. I don't make big money as a school bus driver. So most women go, oh, he just drives a bus, forget it. They don't look at handsome, they don't look at inner qualities. They're looking at externals. And that's another thing. Most Western women are caught up in image and externalism, and yet they themselves are looking worse and worse. They want this perfect designer house, they want